I'm Andrew from COX Architecture, so nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too.
Hope your morning's been good. Before we start, just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today to pay respects to elders past and present. Sorry, it's got a timer on it, wasn't aware. I just want to open with, this is a project that was started slightly different for Geelong in regards to, it was a design competition, an RFP that went out to developers. They assembled an architecture and consultant team together with a builder. So we've come out from a different sort of aspect here. It is a commercially driven project, but very one driven from design aspects. The first stage we're looking at here is the Wurriki Nyal building, which is the new headquarters to Geelong Civic Precinct. But what we've actually done is design a whole precinct and a suite of buildings, a refurbishment of a heritage building, and a future stage 2 commercial office tower, which is due to commence in 2024. But the precinct itself lies in the heart of Geelong. It actually connects the Deakin Waterfront campus. It's going to connect the future convention and exhibition site. It's a node and a transition point through to the CBD and shopping precinct, and there's very much now a defined arts precinct. The brief was to really make this civic cultural precinct and a connection point from the train station into Geelong. So as people are arriving through public transport and the bus interchange, this becomes a node point for them to be able to direct themselves in and through the Geelong city centre. So it's actually an important project for Geelong itself. The site that was given to us by council was about 2/3 of the size that you see here. Our developer came from day one, how can we make this site better? And I think that's actually a really key, important aspect to this building and this precinct and the development. We were lucky enough to convince the developer to purchase 151, 4, 6 and 8, in addition to the site that was provided. What that done suddenly was provide an extra 30% in floor area, and it also provided 3 street aspects. So we've got Mercer Street here, which is actually not a great street. It's very, very hard. It's not pedestrian friendly at all. It's a thoroughfare of traffic through. We've got Jerringhap Street, which is currently going through a whole greening process. It's that linkage to the waterfront development. And then Bailey Street, which has traditionally been a really back street aspect. We've suddenly designed a precinct that has 3 frontages and allows us to actually think about this in a little bit more of a different urban context. Just a quick snapshot of heritage, looking at the past. Geelong's got it's got a lovely history about it. It's got a really industrial history. It's got the, sorry, bloody timer's on. Johnson Park, you know, we came here going, let's not recreate a park. There's a park across the road. How can we further bounce off the natural attributes of the site? But at the same time, oh, this is killing me. At the same time, you know, link into some of the other aspects of Deakin University. Key principles. There are sort of 3-4 key principles here. Really, a new civic space for Geelong, as I mentioned before. The council was really. Do you want the clicker thing? Yeah. You got one there. Yep. Oh, you can go back and forth. Yeah, sorry. No worries. Put a timer on the slides. I shouldn't have done that. A new civic space for Geelong, but democracy on a show. So one place, one council. We've amalgamated 7 office buildings, 850 staff into one place, which was a really important aspect again for the city. Best sustainable practice with the building and the precinct. So we've really pushed the ability here to give us the highest quality ESD credentials. Integration of Aboriginal art and Aboriginal people. We went through a very, very extreme consultation process, which we'll get into further. And the key driver of this building is this hybrid structure and innovation of mass timber. The general idea, it's a public platform, so you're walking through the site, you're walking through the precinct. We're connecting 3 different streets, and those streets are all at different levels. One of the big drivers is to provide equitable access all the way through the site, so from Mercer all the way through to Bailey, from Corio through to Mercer Street. It's a staged master plan. Stage 1 is now complete. We've completed a large portion of the landscape. We're about to go into stage 2, which is the future second tower, commercial building, and there was already an approved planning scheme for the building on the corner there. What we can start to look at here is address and access and the separation of traffic and people was certainly a big consideration here, and the new front door to all these buildings. So we've actually created this civic heart, which is set in from Mercer Street. It's got protection, it's sheltered, it provides an anchor point for people to come and orientate themselves in the building. We've got different front doors for office commercial towers, and also the ability here really to transition through the space. So pedestrians, people, public are encouraged to walk through. So whether it's the north, south, the east, west, it's something that the City Council was very conscious of making sure that this is an open, welcoming space, encouraging movement through. So that connection from Mercer Street to Bailey Street is something that we worked really hard on, making sure we've got equitable DDA access. Our connection from an east-west is coming from the train station, transitioning through the building in this public forum, and then the ability to get down to Jerringham Street, which does have almost a full floor difference there. So we're building in this grand staircase. We've got a vertical access lift as well to be connecting east to west. Some views of this Civic Plaza, you know, the very deliberate cantilever of the facade, and that public thoroughfare through to Johnston Park. So you can stand at Bailey Street, you can look all the way through, and you can see that connection from north to south. Integration of landscape has been a big thing as well, with regards to Yarning Circle, the landscaping pieces, native planting, shaded undercroft is something of high consideration. ESD credentials, really, you know, pushing the boundaries as far as we could. So 6-star Green Star building, ventilated atrium spaces, natural rainwater collection, 140 kilowatt solar plant as well on top. High performing envelope and skin. We've got thermally broken glass, double glazed units. But I guess the celebration here is really this hybrid structure that we've got. The mass timber is really on show in this building, and it's something that's really celebrated throughout, from the exterior all the way through to the interior. That we've got CLT, Gulam, LVL. This is procured as locally as we can get. So there's actually a manufacturing plant in Geelong. The CLT timber has come all the way from Shepparton. So we really worked hard about dematerialising the building, setting up a framework and a fabric that our interiors team have then plugged into a new fit out for the building. We've got the different street addresses, so our Mercer Street address, very much that front door, what we call transparency and democracy on show, the ability for council to be viewed publicly and transparently. Was a big driver. We've got our sun shading screens on our western facade with a western side core, integrated Indigenous Aboriginal artwork as well, commissioned throughout the process. Our Jerringham Street facade, which is opening up onto our civic heart, and where this green landscape here you can see is where stage 2 will start to commence. But that interaction between the urban realm, these yarning circles, there's also a scar tree which we couldn't take a photo of, but the integration of all these little Aboriginal elements has been a really big driver. It's viewed externally, but we also then transition internally from internal environments all the way through with subtle references to the Indigenous culture.